All right, Alec lays live here at the Butler rally in Pennsylvania. In Butler, I got Tim Pool here. Tim, is this the first time you're attending a Trump rally? Were you here at the July 13th rally?
I haven't been to a Trump rally in years, but in the 2015 and 2016 cycle, I was probably at 30 or 40 of them. So it feels familiar. I'm glad to be here. I think the stakes are high, so we need to be.
What do you think about the energy that's here compared to 2016 where you were at the Trump rallies? How does this feel compared to that?
You know, I've only been in this one area so far. It really does feel very similar to the Trump rallies back when I see them. The one thing I would say that's different is I'm seeing a lot more liberal personalities. I just had the Midas Touch guys come over and try and get me or whatever, but they don't want to talk to me. They're gonna edit that interview or something. So it seems like the support for Trump is there, probably as high as it's ever been. But I'm also seeing many of the left coming and trying to get a foot here on the ground. And I think it's because Kamala doesn't have it. She doesn't have that same energy. The interest is with Trump, even for the... This is it, right? Everybody's focused on Trump. Nobody really cares about Kamala. Maybe she wins, I don't know. But when you got the right and liberals coming here to ask the question about Donald Trump, you can tell where the focus is.
Well, that's a great point, Tim. And I would say this, that in 2020, Trump picked up 11 million more votes in 2020 compared to 2016. And I would argue that he may even get even more. But I don't think you're going to see people who voted for Trump in 2020 turn now and vote for Kamala, whereas opposed you're going to see a lot of people who may have voted for Biden in 2020 now turn and vote for Trump. What's your take?
I don't know anybody who has voted for Trump and has decided to vote Kamala. I mean, I got liberal family members. They're still liberal. They hate Trump. They got Trump derangement syndrome and all of that. And it's whatever. We're going to do. It's family, right? But I do know a handful of people who are moderate who are now leaning towards Donald Trump either because of RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, or just because the economy has not been so good despite all the lies from the press trying to insist the economy is better than ever. Trust me. Don't go to the grocery store and look at the costs for your family. But that being said, with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard joining Trump, that is a dream administration. I said in 2020, Donald Trump needs to bring Tulsi Gabbard on. I supported Tulsi in the primaries, in the Democratic primaries, when it was clear that the only choices were going to be Democrat neo-lib establishment garbage and Donald Trump. Donald Trump's the only clear path. Now they're throwing up Kamala Harris. She's worse than Joe Biden was. Look, for all the things we can say about Joe Biden, look at his performance in 2020, hiding in the basement. But he had those debates, and I got to be honest, he debated way better than Kamala did. Now, Kamala Harris is 10 times worse than Joe Biden was back then, and Joe Biden's awful now. So if people are looking at Joe Biden today, and they think that's what we voted for, why would anyone want to vote for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, great point. And I would argue, too, that when Trump buries Kamala here, hopefully in the election, if she decided to run in 2028, I don't even think she would make the primary. She's very unlikable, very unelectable, and the people didn't want her this time. I mean, that's what happened.
Nobody voted for her.
Yeah.
She couldn't get a single delegate. It's ridiculous. And so she's appointed as the nominee, and now all of a sudden she goes from the least favored vice president ever to the saving grace of the Democratic Party. Barack Obama was saying before Joe Biden stepped down that Kamala couldn't win and they didn't want her, but they got nothing else. Right now we're looking at Donald Trump, and the question has always been, what's 2028 going to bring for the Republican Party? Well, we saw that in the debate with J.D. Vance, where he masterfully performed and has proven himself as the heir to MAGA come 2028. I've never been more excited, honestly, for the next election.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. A lot of people, I had Tulsi Gabbard on the show right before he made his pick, and a lot of people were thinking Tulsi, maybe thinking RFK. A lot of people seemed like they were disappointed with the J.D. Vance, but I think he answered a lot of those questions during the debate when he smoked Tim Walz. Last thing I want to kind of get your take on here is Trump didn't pick up the endorsement from the Libertarian Party, which I was kind of shocked when he said, hey, day one, I'm going to release Ross Albright. I'll give him the pardon. So were you kind of shocked that he didn't get that Libertarian vote, or how's he doing with Libertarians?
He's doing all right with Libertarians, but people got to understand, Libertarians don't like Donald Trump. And, you know, I have a buddy, one of the guys who comes on Simcast IRL, Elad, says, the Libertarian Party should dissolve and endorse Donald Trump. And I said, Elad, Libertarians are not Republicans. They have different values. And he's like, no, you're wrong. You go to the Libertarian Convention, and you'll find it split 50-50. There's some woke Libertarians. There are some more conservative-leaning Libertarians. However, I asked them, would you guys endorse Donald Trump? What would it take? And they said, if he appoints Rand Paul as the VP, every Libertarian votes Donald Trump. Well, we got J.D. Vance instead, but I can say the Mises Caucus, which is the dominant faction in the Libertarian Party, I'm assuming they're voting Donald Trump. I can give a shout out to Clint Russell, who's a friend of the show, has appeared several times, and he ran for the vice presidential ticket for the Libertarian Party. He says he's probably voting for Donald Trump because Chase Oliver, their candidate, is non-viable, and you're not voting Democrat. And so here's this libertarian guy who has ragged on Donald Trump for 4 years. You also got Jeremy Kauffman, who held up a sign at the Libertarian Convention saying MAGA equals socialists. And then after they nominate Chase Oliver, he goes, I'm voting Trump. It's amazing.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, it's great to see you out here. I know I warmed you up for the war room here, so you can get on there. You're in the mood now. Great to see you. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time on the Alec Show.
Nice